Pardon me? Pardon me? And now we are beginning. We're beginning with the Shalom Aleichem on page number 5 in the Siddur. And allow me a bit of explanation. It's a bit of a confused day. Number one, we had a gathering here for Sukkot, and schedule is a little bit off, and for that I apologize. And secondly, as a result of Shabbats occurring in the middle of Sukkot, it's called Shabbat Chol HaMoed. I'll talk about that in just a minute. We're going to have an abbreviated service. When Shabbat coincides with a holiday, with a Yom Tov, the service is modified. So without further ado, an abbreviated service. First on page 5. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Asharetz Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachem L'Shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu L'Shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedkem L'Shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Shalom Aleichem is a song, a poem, a prayer, calling out to remind us that at this threshold of time, we are surrounded by angels, and we call forth to the angels and we say, may there be peace upon you, O angels. It occurs to me that if you and I are concerned about angels having peace, then all the more so are we to be concerned at this moment of respite and reflection about people in the closest regions to us, our families, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers having peace as well. May we take hold of that message. And once Shabbos is over and we go back out into the world, may we remind ourselves of what we say, and may our speech influence our own behavior. Turning now to Shema. If you have the Siddur, the Lev Shalem Siddur, the Shema is on page number 41. And most of us are familiar with the word Shema. Shema is a command. Grammatically speaking, it's a command. Shema is being spoken by an individual, namely you. And you are addressing Yisrael, which is the entirety of the Jewish people. But you're not saying Shimu, which makes more sense grammatically because Shimu is directed to a whole bunch of individuals. Shema is directed to one person or the entirety of the nation, and the mindset as being a single individual, millions of Jews wrapped up as one. And when you and I say Shema to each other, we're saying, listen, Shema Yisrael, listen to each other, listen to all of us simultaneously. There's only one God. The introduction to Jewish theology is paying attention to each other. In order to understand that there is a creator beyond all description that's responsible for all reality and beyond, first we have to listen to each other. You perform a critical divine act by gathering others together, by focusing my attention and others, and so too I, and all of us together. We're in this as a union. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayo hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shitecha b'beitecha v'lechtecha v'derech v'shachbecha v'kumecha v'kishartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayulet totafot b'ninecha v'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'sharecha. And anticipating now that it's dark in a little while, when we get ready for bed, we seek that sense of calm whereby we can drift off into peaceful slumber. That's the purpose of the Hashkivenu. Oh God, help us all to lay down tonight with a sense of peace and tranquility and ease our minds and our hearts and our bodies and our beings. And if hopefully you and your loved ones are safe and secure, oh, may it be the case, then please think of somebody who is not. Consider the needs of someone else whom you may not know. That's the purpose of the Hashkivenu. And a few words of English, then the conclusion in the Hebrew. Hashkivenu Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us tomorrow to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukkot shlom aleinu, Yal kol Amo Yisrael, Yal Yerushalayim. The top of 46. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Beini uben b'nei Yisrael, ot hi leolam, ot hi leolam, ot hi leolam. V'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz v'shamro v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat v'yinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamro b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam b'rit olam. The Friday night Amida, the Saturday morning Amida, the Saturday early afternoon, which is known as Musaf Amida, and the Saturday late afternoon Mincha Amida, all have 7 brachot, 7 blessings. And the final blessing, the ultimate, recited 4 times. Erev, Shacharit, Musaf, and Mincha. That 7th blessing recited 4 times calls for world peace. Shalom Rav. Grant abundant and lasting peace to your people Israel and to all who dwell on earth. And wherever you are, please join your thoughts with mine and with ours. And we say, Amen. At this point, we're going to pause in reflection and offer the morning Kaddish, the morning Kaddish, Kaddish Adon. And it is our practice to stand at this time to say Kaddish. The synagogue, Nahavas Chesed, remembers, according to our calendar, those who've died at this season of the year. And we remember with great love Alex Block, Barry Ziff, Beryl Feldman, Bert Nachman, Esther Eisenberg, Goldie Unger, Kurt Block, Lena Wolf, Louis Malkov, Shirley Kaplan, Irving Burson, David Cohen, Herman Mazel, Morris Beskind, Sana Leventhal, Sybil Fishman, Sam Lassner, Beverly Rips, remembering Ann Mitchell. Perhaps you have a name to share, and you're invited to do so. At this point, traditionally those so able to stand are invited to rise. The Kaddish, if you have the Siddur, found on page number 58. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabba, amen. Be'olma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chaye chon uv'yom mechon uv'chaye v'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imaru, amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach la'alam ulalmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'rechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran ba'olma v'imaru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imaru, amen. Originally, the Mourner's Kaddish ended with Yehei Shlama Rabbah. It's Aramaic. The entire Kaddish from the beginning to Yehei Shlama Rabbah is Aramaic. And then at a certain point in time, someone added a sentence in Hebrew to the Kaddish. The Yehei Shlama Rabbah, which is Aramaic, is a prayer. May great peace come from heaven, and may life be upon all of us and upon all of Israel. And we all say, Amen. That was the conclusion of the Kaddish originally. Someone wanted to give it a little bit of a Hebrew closure, you might say, and found a sentence that comes from the book of Psalms in the Bible. And it's very close, but it's a little bit different. Oseh shalom b'mromav. You, O God, are already making peace in the heavenly heights. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Make peace for us, v'al kol Yisrael, and for all of Israel and for the entire world. And we say, Amen. Both of these have a sentiment. One, the original is, may there be great peace and may it come upon us. The other is, there's already peace, but it's in a remote locale, God's own heaven. And in a way, that Hebrew phrase, which is not quite the same as the Aramaic, is taking it one step further and saying, God, we know there may be peace somewhere else, but in our reality, there isn't. Please help us, support us. And every Jewish person around the world who's paying attention is in one way or another sharing his or her energy and focus with you. May you know you are loved and cherished. And we'll conclude tonight with the Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imru Amen. I mentioned earlier that when Shabbat and Yom Tov coincide, the service is abbreviated. There's a sentiment that Shabbat, which comes every single week, of course, is very important. But when a holiday comes along and coincides, in a way, a little bit more attention should be given, you might say, to the holiday. And so for that reason, some of the more familiar Friday evening prayers are slightly abbreviated. And we think of Sukkot, a holiday wherein our ancestors traveled for many miles. Thousands of years ago, upon departing from Egypt, they left and they had no shelter. And they fashioned their own ramshackle huts and they carried with them during the course of the wilderness trek. And finally, upon reaching Israel, they were able to come in and they were able to begin building their own homes slowly, of course. So 1 week out of the year, we send ourselves back into time and attempt to identify with people who were homeless in every sense of the word and carried their worlds on their backs. And focus upon being part of the world, which is another reason why we build a roof of branches with gaps and we can see daylight, the sun, and in the evening, the moon and the stars, reminding us that we are part of the world. And every year, Jews reestablish their connections to the world and hopefully plant within their hearts a sensitivity to those who are homeless and who will not be assured of going back into their homes the way we are typically. So take home this message, and may you know again that you are loved and blessed, and you're considered part of our community. May God watch over you. We hope to see you at some point in the near future in the shul. Until that point in time, Lehitraot, Shabbat Shalom, and Happy Sukkot. Thanks for joining us.